You could give her everything, your time, your love, your energy, and she still might not care. That's a hard truth, but it's one every man needs to understand. In today's video, we're diving into a reality that's tough to hear, but impossible to ignore. A lot of men believe that if they just give enough effort, enough support, enough gifts, it'll win her heart. But that's not how attraction works. She's not judging your effort. She's reacting to how you make her feel. You can be the most loyal, giving, reliable man in the world, but if you're not giving her what she truly desires on an emotional level, none of it sticks. You'll end up feeling confused, even betrayed, wondering why she walked away after everything you did for her. This channel is about clarity, truth, and no sugarcoating. Today, we're talking about the 5 things women actually want from a man and why effort alone isn't enough. This isn't about blaming or resenting women. It's about understanding what really moves the needle so you stop wasting time and start leading with purpose. So, let's get into it. Number 1, effort doesn't equal desire. Most men grow up believing that the harder you try, the more you'll be appreciated. And in most areas of life, that's true. But relationships don't follow that same logic when it comes to attraction effort. Without emotional impact can come off as neediness, not strength. If you're always available, always saying yes, always doing the most, it doesn't make her feel drawn to you. It makes her question why you're trying so hard. She doesn't want a man who's desperate to please her. She wants a man who's present, confident, and knows his worth. Someone who has his own life, his own pace, and invites her into it. Not someone chasing validation. Real attraction isn't logical. It's emotional. And if she doesn't feel that spark, it doesn't matter how much you do. Number 2, she craves emotional power, not just presence. Here's the part most men miss. Women don't fall for the guy who gives them the most. They fall for the man who makes them feel the most. It's not about gifts or good morning texts. It's about emotional impact. If she knows exactly what you'll say, exactly when you'll call, exactly how you'll react, it becomes predictable. Predictable becomes boring. She wants to feel something. Tension, curiosity, excitement. She wants emotional engagement, not just comfort. That doesn't mean playing games. It means holding your ground, having standards, and showing her you're not here to impress her. You're here to connect that edge, that mystery, that confidence. That's what keeps her interested. Number 3, nice guys are the safety net, not the first choice. A lot of men believe that being extra nice, extra giving, and always agreeable is the key to a woman's heart. But often that lands you in the friend zone, or worse, taken for granted. Why? Because constantly trying to win someone over makes it seem like you don't value yourself. And if you don't value yourself, why should she? Women don't want a man who needs their approval to feel good about himself. They want a man who leads with purpose, who respects himself enough to walk away when respect isn't mutual. That self-respect is what creates real attraction. Being a nice guy isn't the problem being a pushover is. So, here's the truth. And it's not easy to hear you can't earn someone's love just by doing more. Love isn't earned through overgiving. It's built on connection, presence, and emotional depth. Once you understand what women actually respond to, everything changes. You stop overextending and you start standing out. This isn't about becoming someone you're not. It's about showing up as your strongest, most grounded self. So, if you're tired of feeling like effort gets you nowhere, remember this. She doesn't fall for effort. She falls for energy, for presence, for emotional leadership. And that's the shift that makes all the difference. The man who's always polite, respectful, helpful, the one who shows up every time she needs something. Sounds like the ideal guy, right? Not exactly. Nice guys are appreciated. Yes, sometimes even loved, but rarely are they deeply desired. More often, they're chosen for convenience, not connection. Here's what most men miss when a woman is uncertain, bored, or emotionally stuck. She knows the nice guy will be there. He's the backup plan, the safety net, always ready, always agreeable, always predictable. But that predictability is exactly why he rarely captures her full attention. He never challenges her. He never disrupts her comfort zone. He never risks tension, and because of that, he never stands out. She knows she can manage him, and that level of control kills attraction. The nice guy listens to her problems, gives her advice, supports her emotionally, all while secretly hoping it earns him a place in her heart. But deep down, she's not drawn to the man who always agrees. She's drawn to the one who stirs something real inside her. Even if it's uncomfortable, men often confuse being nice with being valuable. But niceness isn't a rare trait. It's expected, it's the default. And when you lead with it, thinking it's enough, you lose all the edge that creates romantic tension. The truth is, women are drawn to contrast kindness with strength, love with boundaries, support with independence. She wants a man who's emotionally generous, but not emotionally dependent. A man who can say no. A man who doesn't fold just to avoid rocking the boat. That's the man she respects. That's the man she remembers. And that's the man she chooses. Being nice doesn't make you unique. Being grounded, confident, and untouchable by her moods, that's what makes you magnetic. She doesn't want to feel like she's dating a fan. She wants to feel like she's with a man. And that means showing up with standards, direction, and self-respect. The moment you stop performing for her approval and start living from your truth, everything shifts. You go from being her safety net to being her priority. Let's talk about number 4. Validation. Constantly needing it makes you look weak. And weakness in this form repels attraction. Many men think that being emotionally open at all times is strength. But when emotional openness turns into a craving for praise, reassurance, or attention, it becomes emotional dependency. And women can sense it immediately. A man who constantly needs feedback to feel okay isn't confident. He's anxious, insecure, and ultimately exhausting to be around. Here's what most men don't realize. She doesn't want to be your emotional regulator. She doesn't want the job of constantly making sure you feel good about yourself. She wants to feel your steadiness, not your self-doubt when you start over-explaining fishing for compliments or constantly asking if things are okay. You're giving away your masculine frame. You're putting her in the driver's seat emotionally, and that's not where she wants to be. True strength is emotional self-sufficiency. It's knowing who you are regardless of how she's acting or reacting. Whether she texts back fast or slow, whether she's warm or distant, you stay grounded. And that grounded energy that's rare, that's what makes you attractive. A woman wants to feel your strength, not manage your self-esteem. So stop trying to earn validation. Start embodying the kind of man who doesn't need it. The man who already knows his worth. A man who constantly seeks validation is showing one thing loud and clear. He doesn't trust his own value. And if you don't trust it, why would she? Women are drawn to men who don't flinch, who don't collapse the moment they're not praised, and who don't second-guess themselves every time her mood shifts. That kind of man doesn't react. He remains grounded and grounded. Men earn respect if you find yourself needing constant reassurance. That's your signal not to pull away from her, but to pull away from that habit. The more you validate yourself internally, the less power you give away. And the less power you give away, the more she feels your energy, your presence, not your need. Number 5, mystery beats consistency. Every time there's a popular belief that women want a consistent guy who always shows up and never rocks the boat. And while consistency has its place later in a relationship, it's not what builds attraction in the beginning. In those early stages, mystery is what sparks interest. It's what keeps her thinking about you, wondering what's next. And curiosity is the foundation of emotional investment. A man who's too consistent too soon becomes predictable. She knows when you'll call. She knows what you'll say. She knows how you'll respond. And once everything's predictable, all the emotional momentum disappears. Now, here's where most guys mess up. They think mystery means playing games. It doesn't. Mystery isn't about manipulation. It's about living a life that doesn't revolve around her. It means having purpose, goals, and priorities. You're not pretending to be busy. You actually are the man who builds attraction. Isn't the one who overwhelms her with attention. It's the one who checks in with presence, who engages without chasing, who keeps his pace not because he's cold, but because he has a direction. That space makes her think. It makes her wonder. And that emotional suspense is powerful when she doesn't know what you're going to do next. Not because you're playing her, but because you're dynamic. She stays interested. It's not about disappearing. It's about not handing yourself over like a vending machine. Let her earn parts of you. Let her feel like getting close to you is a journey, not a guarantee. And now for number 6. She wants to feel challenged, not we're ripped. This is one of the most misunderstood dynamics in modern dating. Men think they're doing the right thing by showering a woman with constant praise, agreeing with everything she says and making her the center of their world. But here's the catch. When you worship a woman, you're putting her above you. And once you do that, you lose her respect. Worship might feel flattering at first. She may smile, say how sweet you are, but underneath, she starts feeling something else. Boredom. Because there's no challenge, no depth, no spark. She doesn't have to earn anything. She already knows your soul, no matter what. And that makes the connection flatline. Women want emotional depth. They want challenge, not conflict for the sake of drama, but the kind of challenge that makes them grow, that makes them rise. That means sometimes disagreeing, standing your ground, holding your own views, not folding to avoid upsetting her. That strength is what commands attention. That's what builds attraction. Being nice isn't the problem. Being spineless is a woman doesn't want to feel like she's dating someone who worships her. She wants a partner, an equal, a man who respects himself so deeply that he can love her fully but never lose himself in the process. You want to be the man who inspires her, not the one who depends on her approval to breathe. When you challenge her, you give her something to rise to. You give the connection purpose. That's what keeps it alive. So, to wrap this all up, attraction isn't built on comfort, effort, or worship. It's built on tension, presence, purpose, and emotional leadership. The moment you stop trying to be the perfect guy and start showing up as the real grounded, high-value man, you're capable of being everything shifts. You stop being a backup plan and you become the main focus. But deep down, what she's truly drawn to is a man who knows his worth and refuses to hand it over just to earn attention. So stop trying to worship her. Start becoming the man she has to rise up to meet 7. Being needed is not the same as being wanted. One of the biggest lies men tell themselves in relationships is this: she needs me, so I'm safe. But being needed has nothing to do with being desired. You can pay her bills, solve her problems, be there for her breakdowns, and carry her through the worst parts of life, and she can still not want you. That's where a lot of men get stuck. They confuse usefulness with attraction. They think, she always turns to me when life gets hard. I must be important. But what they don't realize is she's using you for comfort, not connection. That's not love. That's a transaction. And over time, it drains. The very thing that makes you a man, you weren't put here to be an emotional crutch. You weren't born to play backup while she chases the men who give her the spark if she needs you, but doesn't choose you. You're not in a relationship. You're in a role. Too many men stay in these situations because being needed strokes the ego. It feels like purpose, but what it really is quiet resentment. There's no intimacy, no passion, no admiration, just routine, just duty. And that slowly kills your self-worth. Here's the truth. Being wanted means she reaches for you, not just when she's struggling, but when she's whole. It means she chooses you when she doesn't have to. That's real connection. That's what you deserve. Men need to stop settling for scraps of affection dressed up as loyalty. Stop being proud of being useful. If that usefulness is the only reason she's around, you weren't meant to be tolerated. You were meant to be admired if she only comes around when she's in trouble. If she never looks at you with desire, it's time to face reality that's not love. That survival and survival isn't enough. This is your wake-up call. Don't aim to be the man she leans on when she's weak. Aim to be the man she respects when she's strong. The man who inspires her, challenges her, and raises the bar. That's the man who gets chosen. That's the man who gets remembered. Let's wrap this up with the real truth. Most men never hear women rarely leave because you didn't do enough. They leave because you didn't make them feel what they needed to feel. You could give her everything and she'll still walk away for the man who gave her nothing. Accept emotional intensity. Let that sink in. This is the game you're playing. Do not the game of giving, but the game of impact. You were never meant to be the guy who gets tolerated. You were meant to be the guy who gets remembered. Now, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below. Tell me what part of this video hit hardest. What have you seen in your own relationships? I read every single comment and I respond because this isn't just content, it's a community. And if you're ready to stop playing this game the wrong way, you're in the right place. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and let's build something real. This is your time. Let's get to work.